For 1,000 years, the galaxy had known peace. The great empires of space, humans, Valkyrie, Silurians, and dozens of other species had woven a fragile tapestry of alliances, trade agreements, and mutual respect. The memory of war was a distant shadow, more myth than reality, told to younglings as cautionary tales of a violent past. Then, out of nowhere, everything changed. The message came without warning. A declaration broadcast through every known communications channel, echoing across star systems, silencing bustling spaceports and quiet colonies alike. We, the Valkyrie Empire, hereby declare war on humanity. The words rippled through the Galactic Council chambers, shattering centuries of calm. Ambassadors gasped, military officers froze mid-discussion, and the public across countless worlds held its breath. The Valkyrie, a species renowned for their imposing presence and unmatched military prowess, had been humanity's closest ally for centuries. Their fleets had guarded borders side by side, their scientists exchanged knowledge, and their cultures had mingled in peaceful festivals. Yet now they were enemies. The Galactic Council scrambled into emergency session. Predictions poured in. Full-scale invasion, devastation on an unprecedented scale, a war that could consume entire star clusters. Amid the chaos, there was one anomaly: humanity. News feeds from Earth and its colonies showed no signs of panic. No frenzied mobilization, no desperate calls for unity against a looming threat. Instead, people went about their daily lives, workers at bustling factories, students in classrooms, captains on starships, often chuckling softly at the news reports. On the bridge of the Resolute, one of Earth's most advanced warships, Captain Maya Wren watched the message play again on the screen. Her eyes were steady, her expression calm. Beside her, crew members exchanged uneasy glances, waiting for orders or at least a sign of concern. Maya's voice broke the silence. "They declared war? Good. Let's see what they've got." Lieutenant Darnell raised an eyebrow. "Captain, the Valkyrie aren't just any adversary. Their fleet is massive and well-equipped." She smiled faintly. "So is ours. And humans have a habit of surprising people." Outside the window, stars stretched endlessly. The Resolute was already preparing, but the difference was in attitude. Where others saw doom, humans saw opportunity. Back on Earth, news anchors reported the declaration with gravity. Yet in cafes and homes, conversations were peppered with light-hearted jokes. Valkyrie declaring war. Must be April Fool's Day in their calendar, a barista joked, serving coffee with a grin. In schools, teachers used the event as a lesson in history and resilience. "War may be declared," one instructor told her class, "but humanity's spirit is unshaken. We adapt, we endure, and yes, we sometimes laugh in the face of danger." Across the galaxy, aliens were baffled. Their spies reported human fleets operating as usual, their research stations continuing projects, their civilians refusing to cower. The Valkyrie themselves broadcast speeches rallying their forces, painting humanity as a threat to peace. But human broadcasts countered with messages of calm confidence and unshakable resolve. In a hidden conference room on a distant colony, alien diplomats debated feverishly. "How can they be so relaxed?" asked Ambassador Quill, his scales rippling with frustration. "Perhaps humans have weapons or allies we don't know about," suggested another. But the answer was simpler. Humans had faced uncertainty and danger throughout their history. Plagues, wars, disasters, and had come through stronger every time. Their reaction was not arrogance. It was experience. It was a deep, unshakable belief that no matter the threat, humanity would find a way. As the Galactic Council prepared defenses and drafted strategies, humanity's leaders sent a clear message back. We welcome the challenge. And, in that simple statement, beneath the chuckles and calm, lay a warning to all who doubted them. Humanity was ready. The war declared by the Valkyrie was not the beginning of humanity's downfall. It was the spark that would ignite their rise. As the shock waves of the Valkyrie's declaration rippled across the galaxy, tension gripped most worlds like a tightening noose. Military commanders hurried to raise alert statuses, diplomats scrambled to broker last-minute deals, and civilians braced for the coming storm. But on human worlds, the mood was markedly different. Calm, almost casual, settled over cities and space stations alike. On the Resolute's bridge, Captain Maya Wren leaned forward over the tactical console, reviewing the latest intelligence reports with quiet confidence. Sensors had detected increased Valkyrie fleet movements near the outer colonies, but the data lacked the aggressive precision one would expect from a full invasion force. Lieutenant Darnell tapped the console. "They're mobilizing, but it's not a blitz. More like probing." Maya nodded thoughtfully. "They're testing our defenses, trying to gauge our response." She glanced around at her crew, steady, focused, yet not panicked. That, perhaps, was humanity's greatest weapon, their unshakable composure. On Earth, the situation was similar. News networks delivered updates with a measured tone, avoiding sensationalism. Citizens went about their daily routines, engineers refining Starship designs, scientists experimenting with new energy sources, students studying history not with fear but with curiosity. At the United Earth Command Center, Admiral Lucas Heller sat surrounded by holographic displays. His jaw was firm, his demeanor calm. "We must be prepared," he said to his staff, "but panic won't help. We've dealt with crises before." A young officer blinked. "Admiral, some alien factions are already withdrawing support for the Valkyrie because they see humanity as too strong." Lucas smiled faintly. "That's because humans have a reputation for resilience, for fighting smarter, not just harder. They underestimate us at their peril." Across the Galactic Council chambers, alien delegates whispered anxiously about humanity's strange response. How could a species faced with a powerful enemy not show fear or urgency? Ambassador Quill of the Celeran delegation voiced what many thought. They behave as if the declaration is a mere annoyance, not a threat. "Perhaps they know something we don't," another ambassador murmured. In truth, humans did know. Centuries of surviving against impossible odds had taught them a valuable lesson. Panic was the enemy's ally. Maintaining calm allowed clear thinking, swift adaptation, and effective action. Back on the Resolute, Maya convened a meeting with her senior officers. "We've seen their mobilization patterns," she began, "but our intelligence suggests they lack a clear strategy. Their leadership is divided, unsure how to deal with a foe that doesn't fear them." Lieutenant Mara Jin, the ship's tactical officer, added, "Their pilots report that human fighters move unpredictably. No strict formations, no rigid battle plans. It's throwing their squadrons off balance." Maya smiled. "That's exactly what we want. Let them try to fit us into their expectations. We'll keep breaking the mold." Meanwhile, on one of the outer colonies, Dr. Elise Tan worked late, into the night, analyzing recent sensor data. "Captain, we're detecting strange energy signatures near several derelict alien ruins," she reported via comlink. Maya's interest peaked. "Could be new tech. Start analysis immediately. Anything that can give us an edge." Elise nodded. "Already on it. We might be able to repurpose some of it." As the humans continued their work, the Valkyrie ramped up propaganda efforts, attempting to sow fear and doubt among human populations. Yet the efforts fell flat. Instead, they became a source of amusement. Memes and jokes spread quickly online, mocking the aggressors. In one viral video, a human comedian mimicked a Valkyrie warlord's speech, ending with a grin. "You declare war on humans. Good luck. We're just getting started." Back in the Galactic Council, the mood was tense but shifting. Other species started reaching out to humanity, seeking alliance or at least neutrality. Ambassador Quill sighed during a private conversation with Maya's envoy. Your people are unlike any we have encountered. They laugh in the face of war and yet fight with unmatched skill." Maya's envoy responded simply, "That's humanity, resilient, unpredictable, and never without hope." As night fell on Earth, Maya stood looking up at the stars. The war had been declared, but humanity's true battle was just beginning. Not only to defend themselves, but to redefine their place in the galaxy. Calm amid chaos, laughter amid threats, strength amid uncertainty. That was the human way. The calm confidence of humanity was about to be tested. For months, the Valkyrie had prepared in silence, their colossal war machines gathering in the shadows of star systems on the galactic frontier. What the humans had treated with quiet amusement now became a grim reality. At dawn on the colony world of Epsilon Prime, alarms blared through the bustling cities. The sky darkened as sleek Valkyrie warships emerged from hyperspace, casting imposing shadows over the planet's sprawling habitats. The war had begun. On the ground, panic flickered for a moment, but it was swiftly replaced by steely resolve. The colony's defense forces, a mix of human militia and Earth Federation troops, mobilized without hesitation. While the Valkyrie had the numbers and the raw firepower, the humans had something they could never anticipate: ingenuity. Captain Maya Wren, aboard the Resolute, monitored the unfolding battle with keen eyes. "Epsilon Prime is under attack," she announced calmly. "Deploy our rapid response teams. Let's show them why humans don't panic." Across the battlefield, human pilots launched in agile fighters, weaving through the Valkyrie cruisers' defensive formations with uncanny precision. They didn't attack head-on. Instead, they used guerrilla tactics, hit-and-run strikes, ambushes from unexpected angles, and coordinated attacks designed to disrupt the enemy's command structure. Lieutenant Mara Jin coordinated the fleet's maneuvers. "Their formation is rigid. They expect a straightforward assault. We'll exploit that." In orbit, the Valkyrie's massive battle cruisers unleashed torrents of plasma fire, but their attacks were too slow, too predictable. Human vessels darted through the chaos, disabling key systems before vanishing into the starfield. On the ground, human engineers deployed autonomous drones equipped with adaptive camouflage and precision weaponry. The Valkyrie ground forces, armored but slow, found themselves hunted through dense forests and rocky outcrops. In a command bunker beneath the colony's capital, Governor Lyra Kyle watched the reports with growing disbelief. "How can they move so fast? Their tactics are unorthodox," her Valkyrie advisors grumbled. "Humans fight differently. They don't just confront, they improvise." The clash raged for hours. The Valkyrie expected a swift victory. Instead, they met stubborn resistance and unexpected setbacks. One striking example came when a squadron of human fighters lured a Valkyrie dreadnought into an asteroid field. The huge ship struggled to maneuver, and human torpedoes found their mark in weak points between the armored plates. The dreadnought erupted in flames, debris scattering into space. News of the loss rippled through the Valkyrie fleet like a shockwave. "Retreat is not an option," barked General Threx, the Valkyrie commander. "We will break their spirit, increase pressure." But the humans remained unfazed. At a makeshift command post near the colony's surface, Captain Maya stood with a group of officers. "This is just the beginning," she said firmly. "We fight smart. We fight together." Back aboard the Resolute, Maya reviewed the latest tactical data. "Their forces are powerful but predictable. Our advantage is adaptability." Lieutenant Darnell smiled. "It's almost like they don't know what we're capable of." As night fell on Epsilon Prime, the Valkyrie forces found themselves pushed back. Their initial momentum stalled. The humans had turned the tide with relentless creativity and tenacity. Across the galaxy, news of the battle spread quickly. For the first time, the Valkyrie's supposed invincibility was questioned. Ambassador Quill observed the reports with a mix of concern and admiration. Humans are not just fighting, they are redefining what it means to fight. On Earth, celebrations were muted but genuine. Citizens understood the cost, but they also felt pride. Humanity had met the first true test of the war, and they had not just survived, they had thrived. Still, the conflict was far from over. The Valkyrie would regroup, adapt, and return with greater force. But humanity's response had sent a clear message. They were not to be underestimated. In a quiet moment, Captain Maya allowed herself a rare smile. They declared war expecting fear. Instead, they found laughter and resilience. And as the II stars continued their endless journey, humanity stood ready, not just to defend, but to conquer the challenges ahead. The battle for Epsilon Prime had ended, but the war was far from over. The Valkyrie, shaken but unyielding, regrouped and prepared for a decisive strike. Yet humanity was not simply waiting, they were evolving. Captain Maya Wren stood on the observation deck of the Resolute, watching the stars streak past as the fleet moved toward the next confrontation. Reports from the front lines detailed how human forces had turned setbacks into opportunities, using tactics that baffled even the most seasoned Valkyrie commanders. Lieutenant Mara Jin approached with a datapad. Captain, preliminary scans. From the last engagement show, our new adaptive shield tech held up perfectly against their plasma bursts. Damage was minimal. Maya nodded. Good. The engineers have done incredible work. That tech gives us the edge in defense, but it's our unpredictability in offense that's making the difference. Humans had never been known for following strict protocols in battle. Where other species valued rigid formations and carefully scripted maneuvers, humanity thrived on flexibility, creativity, and rapid decision-making. They could improvise solutions on the fly, adapt their strategies in real time, and exploit weaknesses in ways no one anticipated. As the fleet approached the Valkyrie stronghold of Korath Prime, a vital military outpost, Maya called a meeting with her senior officers. "We're about to face their core fleet," she began. "This will be their strongest defense. We need to be precise, relentless, and unpredictable." Lieutenant Darnell smirked. "Sounds like every fight we've had so far." "Exactly," Maya replied. "Let's remind them why they declared war with nothing but a chuckle from us. The battle that followed was unlike any the galaxy had witnessed." Instead of engaging in a traditional fleet clash, humans launched coordinated strikes on multiple fronts simultaneously. Small groups of fighters darted through asteroid fields to strike at supply ships. Stealth drones infiltrated enemy communications, jamming signals and spreading confusion. On the surface of Korath Prime, special forces deployed advanced exoskeleton suits and adaptive camouflage gear, slipping behind enemy lines to sabotage command centers and weapon depots. Valkyrie warlords watched in frustration as their meticulously planned defenses unraveled piece by piece. General Threx, glaring at the holomap of the battlefield, barked orders in vain. "Stop their raids! Focus fire on the main fleet!" But the humans didn't comply with expected patterns. When the Valkyrie concentrated fire on one group, another would strike elsewhere, exploiting every opening. Amid the chaos, human pilots executed daring maneuvers, their ships twisting and weaving in ways that seemed almost reckless, but always effective. Their weapon systems were tuned to exploit the Valkyrie ship's vulnerabilities, firing precision bursts that crippled engines and disabled weapon arrays. Captain Maya coordinated the assault from the Resolute, her calm voice cutting through the comms. "Target their command vessels. Disrupt their coordination. Every ship counts." The Valkyrie fleet began to falter. Without clear orders, their forces fragmented, retreating to regroup. On the surface, human operatives achieved their objectives, blowing up critical power stations and disabling planetary defenses. The once formidable Valkyrie stronghold was crippled. News of the victory spread quickly. Across human worlds, celebrations were quiet but resolute, an acknowledgement of both loss and triumph. In the aftermath, Ambassador Quill approached Maya during a Galactic Council session. Your people fight with a ferocity and intelligence that is truly remarkable. The Valkyrie expected a traditional war. They did not anticipate the human way. Maya smiled. We fight because we have to, but we survive because we refuse to be predictable. The victory at Korath Prime shifted the balance of power. Alien species began to see humanity not as a fragile newcomer, but as a formidable force, one whose strength lay not just in technology or numbers, but in spirit and ingenuity. Yet, for all the success, Maya knew the war was far from over. Every victory is a step forward, she said later to her crew. But it's also a reminder, the galaxy will not give us peace without a fight. As the fleet prepared for its next mission, humans remained steady, their laughter and confidence undimmed. They had shown the galaxy their strength, and that strength was only beginning to reveal its true depth. The dust had barely settled after the battle for Korath Prime when reports arrived that the Valkyrie were launching a new offensive, this time targeting a critical human outpost on the edge of known space, the settlement of Nova Horizon. Its strategic position made it a vital link in human supply and communication lines. Losing it would not only be a tactical setback, but a blow to morale. Captain Maya Wren received the news aboard the Resolute just as the fleet was preparing to refuel and repair. We can't let Nova Horizon fall, she said, her voice steady. If the Valkyrie think they can break us with swift strikes, they're in for a surprise. Lieutenant Darnell tapped on his console. Our intel shows their fleet is larger this time. They're committing more ships, more troops. Maya's gaze hardened. Then we'll need to be smarter. Let's get to work. The human fleet set course for Nova Horizon, moving at full speed. But Maya and her officers knew this wouldn't be a simple defense mission. The Valkyrie were no fools. They intended to crush the outpost decisively. As the fleet neared Nova Horizon, human engineers and scientists on the ground worked feverishly to bolster defenses. Energy shields were reinforced, automated turrets, calibrated and rapid response teams stood ready. On the bridge of the Resolute, Maya studied the incoming fleet's formation. The Valkyrie had adopted new tactics, trying to overwhelm with sheer force, but the humans had learned and adapted. Lieutenant, Mara Jin spoke up. Their formation is tighter but slower. We can use their momentum against them. Good, Maya replied. Prepare the interdiction teams. As the Valkyrie fleet dropped out of hyperspace, the battle began. But instead of meeting the enemy head-on, human forces executed a bold plan, one that would change the course of the war. Using stealth drones and electronic warfare, the humans disrupted the Valkyrie's sensors and communications. The enemy fleet found itself blind and disorganized in the vastness of space. At the same time, small squads of human fighters slipped through the gaps, striking at critical systems on the Valkyrie capital ships, engines, weapon arrays, and command modules. The Valkyrie tried to regroup, but their orders were garbled and delayed. Panic crept into their ranks. On the ground, human defenders launched counterattacks, pushing back Valkyrie landing forces with precision strikes and guerrilla tactics learned from centuries of Earth's own battles. In the heart of the fight, Captain Maya coordinated the fleet's movements with a mix of calm authority and sharp intuition. Target their flagship, she ordered. If we can take down their command ship, the rest will falter. Lieutenant Darnell smiled grimly. Already on it, Captain. As human ships converged on the Valkyrie flagship, a massive battlecruiser bristling with weapons, the enemy launched a desperate counterattack. But the human fleet was ready. Using a coordinated volley of plasma torpedoes and laser fire, the Resolute and its escorts disabled the flagship's shield generators. In the final moments, a precision strike tore through the bridge, shattering command and control. The flagship exploded in a brilliant burst, sending shockwaves across the battlefield. With their leader fallen, the Valkyrie fleet faltered and began a chaotic retreat. Nova Horizon was saved. The victory was hailed across human space as the turning point of the war. Back on Earth, celebrations were held, but Captain Maya reminded her crew of the cost. "We won this battle," she said, "but the war is not over. We have shown the galaxy what humanity is made of: resilience, innovation, and unbreakable will." Her words echoed across communications channels, inspiring hope and determination. Ambassador Quill, watching the events unfold, approached Maya during a diplomatic meeting. "Your people have turned the tide in ways few expected," he said. "You fight not just with weapons but with heart." Maya smiled. "That's the human way. We never back down, and we never stop fighting for what we believe in." As the fleet regrouped and prepared for the next challenge, one thing was clear. Humanity was no longer the underdog. They had become a force the galaxy could not ignore. The war had changed, and with it, the destiny of every species watching. The victory at Nova Horizon sent ripples through the galactic landscape. Across the stars, whispers of humanity's indomitable spirit grew louder. The Valkyrie, once the uncontested masters of the battlefield, now found themselves reacting to a foe they could neither predict nor easily defeat. Captain Maya Wren stood on the Resolute's command deck, the hum of the high ship's systems a steady reminder that their mission was far from over. Intelligence reports indicated the Valkyrie were consolidating their forces, preparing to strike back with renewed fury. But this time, humanity would not wait to defend. They planned to take the fight to the enemy. "We've seen their weaknesses," Maya told her officers in the strategy room. "They rely on overwhelming force and rigid command structures. We're going to disrupt that from the inside." Lieutenant Mara Jin projected a holomap of the Valkyrie fleet's gathering point, a sprawling cluster of warships orbiting a remote gas giant. "Their logistics hub is here," she pointed. "If we can cripple their supply lines, it'll cripple their ability to wage war." Maya nodded. "Prepare a strike team. We're going in deep." The plan was bold and risky. A select group of human pilots and special operatives would infiltrate the enemy's rear, striking key targets before the Valkyrie even realized what had happened. As the fleet approached the gas giant, tension was palpable. The Valkyrie defenses were strong, their patrols relentless, but the humans had learned to turn the enemy's strengths into vulnerabilities. The infiltration team, led by Lieutenant Darnell, slipped through sensor nets using stealth technology, refined from captured alien tech and human ingenuity. They navigated asteroid belts and electromagnetic storms, emerging near the heart of the Valkyrie logistics station. "What's the status?" Darnell asked over comms. "Systems are offline," replied Lieutenant Mara Jin from the Resolute. "You're clear for insertion." On the station's surface, human operatives moved swiftly and silently. Their objective: destroy fuel depots, disrupt communication arrays, and sabotage repair facilities. Explosions rippled through the Valkyrie supply hub, sending fire and debris into the vacuum of space. Without supplies and maintenance, their fleet's fighting capacity would rapidly decline. Meanwhile, the main human fleet engaged Valkyrie patrols in a diversionary assault. Fighters darted through enemy formations, drawing fire and creating confusion. Valkyrie commanders struggled to coordinate responses, their systems overwhelmed by simultaneous threats. Back on the logistics station, the human strike team faced unexpected resistance. Elite Valkyrie guards counterattacked, but humans fought, with relentless determination and superior tactics. Adaptive armor and rapid-fire weapons gave them an edge in close combat. Lieutenant Darnell radioed Maya. "We're pinned down near the reactor, requesting immediate support." Maya's voice was steady. "Hold your position. We're sending reinforcements." Human reinforcements arrived in swift dropships, turning the tide. The battle on the station became a testament to human resilience, every setback met with unyielding resolve. As the last of the Valkyrie defenses fell, the strike team triggered a massive chain reaction in the station's core. The explosion was visible from orbit, a blazing beacon of human defiance. The Valkyrie fleet, now crippled and disorganized, began a full retreat. The Resolute and accompanying ships pursued, pressing their advantage. In the aftermath, Galactic observers took note. Humanity was no longer a defensive power reacting to threats. They had become aggressors in the best sense, fighting to protect their homes by striking decisively at their enemy's heart. Ambassador Quill met with Maya once more. "Your actions have reshaped the war's trajectory. The Valkyrie underestimated you, but now the galaxy watches in awe." Maya smiled. "We never doubted ourselves. We just had to show them." The news spread quickly through human colonies. The message was clear. Humanity was prepared to fight not just for survival, but for victory. Yet beneath the triumph lay a quiet truth. This war would demand more than courage and strategy. It would require unity, sacrifice, and an unbreakable belief in what made humanity unique. As the Resolute set course for its next mission, Captain Maya looked out at the endless stars. "This is our moment," she whispered. "We fight not just to win battles, but to secure a future where humans stand proud among the stars." And with that, humanity's greatest campaign continued, a testament to their enduring spirit, laughter in the face of danger, and strength that no enemy could silence. The Valkyrie had tasted defeat, twice, thrice even, and their pride was broken. But pride could also breed desperation. Across their shattered command networks, whispers of a final gambit grew louder, a desperate plan to regain control and crush humanity once and for all. Captain Maya Wren received the intelligence briefing aboard the Resolute with a solemn expression. The Valkyrie were amassing a colossal war fleet at the edge of the galaxy, near the uncharted system of Arcturus Delta. A system rich with unstable star matter that could be weaponized if harnessed correctly. "This is it, Lieutenant," Mara Jin said, pointing to the holo map. "They're gathering everything they have for one last push. If they succeed here, it could mean the end for us." Maya nodded, her jaw tight. "Then we won't give them that chance." The human fleet accelerated toward Arcturus Delta, aware that this confrontation could determine the fate of the entire war. As they approached, the vast Valkyrie armada loomed in the shadows, thousands of ships bristling with weapons, forming an impenetrable fortress of steel and firepower. General Threx's voice crackled over intercepted transmissions, cold and unwavering. "Humanity will fall today. Their laughter will be silenced forever." But Maya's crew remained undeterred. "Prepare for a full-scale assault," Maya commanded. "We strike first, strike hard, and keep moving. No hesitation." The battle erupted with the fury of a supernova. Plasma beams carved through the void, missiles streaked toward targets with deadly precision, and the clash of titanic warships shook the very fabric of space. But the Valkyrie had something new. They had harnessed the volatile star matter of Arcturus Delta, using it to power devastating weapons capable of tearing through even the most advanced human shields. Explosions rocked human vessels. Ships that once danced gracefully through combat now found themselves battered and broken. Yet, humanity's response was relentless. Captain Maya directed coordinated maneuvers that leveraged every ounce of tactical genius her people possessed. Using the battlefield's chaotic environment to their advantage, human pilots wove through debris fields and plasma storms, striking enemy vessels where their defenses were weakest. Lieutenant Darnell led a daring squadron deep into the heart of the Valkyrie fleet, targeting their newly installed star matter reactors. "Hit those reactors," he radioed. "One good blast, and the whole fleet could collapse. Explosions rippled across the Valkyrie armada as the reactors ignited in chain reactions. Massive warships erupted, sending shockwaves that tore through enemy formations. The Valkyrie commander's calm facade cracked. Desperation turned to fury as his fleet began to fracture. But even as the tide turned, the Valkyrie unleashed their secret weapon, a colossal dreadnought, the Eternal Wrath, designed to obliterate entire fleets with a single devastating blast. Its weapon charged, a glowing beacon of destruction aimed directly at the Resolute. "Evasive maneuvers!" Maya shouted. "Divert all power to shields!" The Resolute twisted through space, barely avoiding the Eternal Wrath's cataclysmic energy blast, which vaporized a nearby cruiser in an instant. With the Eternal Wrath locked on, Maya knew there was only one chance. "Lieutenant Jin, deploy." "The quantum disruptors," she ordered. "We need to disable that dreadnought before it fires again." The disruptors, experimental devices designed to destabilize complex energy fields, were humanity's last hope. Fighter pilots braved swarms of Valkyrie escorts to get close enough to launch the disruptors. In a tense moment, the devices found their marks. The Eternal Wrath shuddered, its systems flickering wildly. Unable to complete its charge, the dreadnought's weapon malfunctioned spectacularly, exploding inward and sending a shockwave that shattered nearby ships, with their secret weapon destroyed. And morale shattered, the Valkyrie began a full retreat. As the dust settled, humanity's fleet stood victorious yet again, battered but unbroken. Captain Maya looked out at the vast battlefield, a scene of destruction and hope intertwined. "We fought not just with weapons but with spirit," she said softly, "and that spirit will never be defeated." Across the galaxy, humans celebrated their greatest victory, their laughter echoing like a promise. No matter the enemy, no matter the odds, humanity would always stand tall. But even in victory, Maya knew the fight for peace was just beginning, because true strength wasn't measured by the battles won, but by the future they fought to build. The battle was over. The Valkyrie's last great assault had been shattered, their colossal fleet, broken and scattered across the stars. For the first time in a millennium, silence stretched through the void where war had raged. Captain Maya Wren stood on the bridge of the Resolute, her gaze fixed on the distant horizon of stars. The galaxy was watching and waiting. What came next would define not just humanity, but the entire future of interstellar civilization. "Status report," Maya said quietly. Lieutenant Mara Jin looked up from her console. "The Valkyrie remnants are retreating beyond sensor range. We've secured Arcturus Delta, but their homeworlds remain untouched." Maya nodded. "We've won the battle, but the war for peace has just begun." The council chambers aboard the flagship were filled with representatives from dozens of allied species, many who had joined humanity's cause or watched with wary respect as humans rose from underdogs to victors. Ambassador Quill stepped forward, his voice measured yet hopeful. "Captain Wren, your leadership has inspired not only your people, but countless others. The galaxy is on the cusp of a new era." Maya met his eyes. "We fought because we had no choice. Now we must build what we fought for." The council agreed on a bold plan to establish a coalition dedicated to peace, cooperation, and mutual defense, one that could prevent future conflicts like the one just ended. Across human worlds, celebrations erupted, but there was no recklessness, no arrogance. Instead, a shared resolve filled the air. Maya visited Nova Horizon, where the scars of war were still fresh, but hope blossomed amid rebuilding efforts. Children played under repaired skywalks, their laughter a balm to the weary veterans who watched them with pride. In the quiet moments, Maya reflected on everything that had brought them here. The challenges, the sacrifices, the laughter in the face of danger. She thought of the countless human lives who had stood up when called, who had proven that strength came from more than weapons or technology. It came from courage, creativity, and an unbreakable will. On the observation deck, Maya recorded a message to be sent across the galaxy. To all who listen, she began, her voice steady and warm. We are not defined by the wars we fight, but by the futures we build. Humanity's laughter and spirit have carried us through the darkest nights. Now, we invite all species to join us, not as conquerors or victims, but as partners in peace. The message spread like wildfire, reaching worlds far beyond their own. Many answered with hope, eager to embrace a new chapter. Yet Maya knew vigilance was still needed. The galaxy was vast, filled with unknown challenges and mysteries. But for now, the humans had proven themselves not just survivors, but beacons of resilience and unity. As the Resolute prepared to chart new courses, exploring uncharted space, Maya felt a quiet pride. They had faced the worst the universe could throw at them, and emerged stronger. A new dawn was rising, bright and full of promise. And humanity would be there, ready to meet it with open hands, steady hearts, and a laugh that echoed across the stars.